However, the terrifying thing about Memoir was that he specialized in summoning the human heart's deepest terror, rage, and misery in order to destroy a person's psychological defenses. To Luo Binghe, who had already activated his God mode cheats, the power of 10,000 memoirs together would amount to little more than parlor tricks. But the Luo Binghe now, whose demonic blood had yet to awaken, was trapped in the dream realm and his dark memories. All he could see was his own powerlessness. Suddenly, the alley scene distorted, transforming into another one. Not good, Shen Qingqiu thought. A second killing blow without time to prepare. They were in a broken-down little hut. The hut only had one bed, a crooked little table with a dimly lit oil lamp on the top, and a small wooden bench. On the bed lay a haggard old woman. With great effort she tried to prop herself up, but from beginning to end she was unable to do so. A small figure rushed in from outside. A tender-faced Luo Binghe, only a little over 10 years old, supported the woman. Around his neck hung the jade pendant. "Mother, why are you getting up again?" he asked anxiously. "Didn't we say it's fine to rest?" The woman coughed.
"Lying down doesn't help with anything. Might as well get up and wash the clothes."
"I already finished washing," said little Luo Binghe. "Mother, lie down and wait for me to finish simmering your medicine. You can work after you take it and get better." The woman's face was ashen, her sickness long beyond cure, and she had little time left to live. She smiled while patting Luo Binghe's head.
"Binghe is so sweet."
Little Luo Binghe lifted his face, forcing himself to smile. "What does mother want to eat?"
"These days I have less and less appetite."
The woman paused, then hesitantly added,
"The last time our house's young master threw out his white congee, I did wish for a bit of a taste. I wonder if the kitchen has any left."
Little Luo Binghe vigorously nodded. "I will go and ask for mother."
"Just asking is enough,"
the woman warned him again and again.
"If there's none left, then just make something light and soupy. As long as it fills the stomach, it's fine. Absolutely do not request any from the chef."
Luo Binghe promised profusely, then ran out like the wind, his feet clapping against the ground. After lying down for a while, the woman felt beneath her pillow for a needle and thread and started doing needlework. The lamplight in the hut became dimmer and dimmer. While Luo Binghe's mind was unclear, he reached out, trying to grasp something. Shen Qingqiu grabbed his hand. "Luo Binghe," he said forcefully, "look carefully. This isn't your mother, and you are no longer that helpless child who could only endure humiliation." One of the things that made this nightmare so lethal was that the more agitated the trapped victim became, the more damage it would do to their mind. Luo Binghe's present extreme instability was terribly harmful to his spirit. Another dangerous thing to remember was that you absolutely could not attack the people who appeared in your dream realm. Every single person was formed from the mind and consciousness of the dream realm's host. As soon as you attacked them, you would also be attacking your own brain. Many people, not knowing this or unable to control their emotions, attacked the people in the dream realm who had hurt them in the past and therefore sent themselves into a coma. If Luo Binghe fell into that state, Shen Qingqiu would of course also be trapped in his dream with him. The scenery around them shifted erratically. This nightmare was a collection of Luo Binghe's misfortunes and traumas from his short decade-plus years of life. The scene suddenly transformed into little Luo Binghe pleading with the house chef to grant his adopted mother a bowl of congee before being ridiculed by the manor's young master. Then it became time right after he joined Qingjing Peak, and he's been subjected to exclusion, and in spite of his numerous apprentice brothers, his frail form straining as he swung a rusty axe or carried pails of water up the long stairs as his steps slowed more and more, then the moment when his treasured jade pendant was snatched away, never to be found. The disordered scenes piled up as they came one after another without pause. The present Luo Binghe could neither see nor hear anything beyond this maelstrom of images and memories. Within his head, there was only an ongoing explosion of hatred, despair, suffering, helplessness, and fury from those times, churning endlessly within his chest and mind. The only way to dispel this nightmare would be to undo the tangles in one's heart, therefore causing the nightmare to collapse in on itself. But Luo Binghe's fists were tightly clenched. Crackling sounds came from his fingers, his breathing grew increasingly unsteady, his eyes turned in a natural red, and a faintly discernible current of spiritual power coursed around him, as if his desire to attack were growing near irresistible. Standing near him was supremely dangerous, thought Shen Qingqiu. Don't attack them, Shen Qingqiu said harshly. Even if you hit them, you'll be the one who's injured. Luo Binghe could no longer hear his words. He lifted his right arm, and a powerful spiritual blast flew forth from his palm, hurtling straight forward to destroy the people laughing freely within the illusion. Shen Qingqiu cried out within his heart. No matter how painful, his body still understood its duties. He rushed over, throwing himself before the illusions, blocking the spiritual blast head-on. It struck his lower abdomen. In that instant, Shen Qingqiu felt like he'd been stomped on by an elephant, his vision going dark. Oh, if this weren't the dream realm, he would be vomiting an endless fountain of blood, as expected of the protagonist. Shen Qingqiu's face was drenched with tears. Luo Binghe was obviously only a young disciple, so how could he release such a powerful spiritual blast? It seemed that ever since he unlocked the OOC function, not only had he not accomplished any grand achievements, the only thing he'd done aside from blocking blows was blocking more blows, and then blocking even more blows. Ugh, he was just some self-sacrificial meat shield, wasn't he? With this attack of Luo Binghe's, the illusion around them was broken, and the people and objects all shattered like glass into thousands of shards. The illusionary landscape transformed into a remote forested wilderness, and the sky was a dark blue, and the lone cold moon hung high and golden above their heads. Luo Binghe's mind instantly cleared. He first stared blankly, speechlessly at the half-kneeling Shen Qingqiu, who was unable to stand. Then he lowered his head to look at his own palm, where a shred of remaining spiritual power was still flowing through his fingertips. Vaguely remembering what he'd just done, his face turned stark white. Luo Binghe threw himself to Shen Qingqiu's side to support him, both worried and regretful. Shizun, why didn't you hit back? With Shen Qingqiu's level of spiritual power, he would have been wholly capable of returning Luo Binghe's spiritual blast, forcing their powers to collide and directly pitting them against each other until the stronger one won. Not only could he have dissolved Luo Binghe's attack, he could have deflected it back at him. Foolish child. Shen Qingqiu said simply, expressing his innermost feelings. Then he continued weakly. The point was to ensure you wouldn't be injured. If I deflected it back and injured you, what would be the purpose of that? That frail voice made Luo Binghe want to strike his own heart and kill himself. But now the one injured is Shizun, he said frantically. It hadn't been long since they fought those 3 matches against the demon realm, and Shizun had already again been injured for his sake, and this time by his own hand. Shen Qingqiu saw the self-blame and misery on the child's face about to overflow, and unable to stand it, he said consolingly, Your cultivation cannot compare to mine. Even if this master took several more blows, it wouldn't matter. Luo Binghe would have preferred Shen Qingqiu be as he had been in the past, and vented his anger by viciously beating and cursing him. Even if he were utterly ignored, scorned, and ridiculed, it would have been easier on his heart. On the contrary, Shen Qingqiu's tone and words were unerringly gentle, and so Luo Binghe was struck dumb and speechless, completely at a loss for what to do. After a long moment, he said in a low voice, It was my fault. The early Luo Binghe indeed walked the path of a brainless moe white lotus. Shen Qingqiu figured he'd once again fallen into the self-flagellating pattern of an anxious people-pleaser. It has nothing to do with you, Shen Qingqiu explained patiently. The ways of demons are extremely unpredictable and impossible to guard against. However, if you don't want to run into similar trouble in the future, you must become stronger. These words were spoken purely out of his personal feelings. This was a world of immortals and monsters where the strong ate the weak. becoming stronger was the only way to guarantee that you wouldn't become cannon fodder to be pushed around by the world. Luo Binghe's thoughts shifted, and without speaking, he suddenly raised his head, fixing his steady gaze on Shen Qingqiu. Shen Qingqiu's heart thumped. Luo Binghe's eyes, dark like obsidian, flashed with a light more dazzling than the reflection of the moon and stars. That look in his eyes, that look of a protagonist's look, full of resolute conviction and blazing fighting spirit. Could it be I've already become the protagonist's guiding star on his life path going forward? Luo Binghe fell into a proper kneeling position by Shen Qingqiu's side. I understand, he said in a strong, clear voice. Wait, what did you understand this time? Can you not just say half your words every time? Tell me the rest. Shen Qingqiu didn't notice that, as Luo Binghe spoke this sentence, he didn't use this disciple to address himself. Luo Binghe tightly clenched his fist. This kind of thing, he said, enunciating each word. I definitely won't let it happen again a second time. Letting Shi Zun protect his weak self, letting Shi Zun be injured because of him, this kind of thing absolutely could not happen again. Shen Qingqiu let out an "Oh." What's going on? He suddenly had this protagonist is protecting me, I feel so safe kind of feeling. What exactly was going on? Safe your ass. This person will carve you into a human stick in the future. Wake up! Shen Qingqiu was filled with the plethora of complex emotions. Fuck. Originally, this conviction to become stronger to protect my important person should have been inspired by the protagonist seeing the female lead's frail, lovely, and delicately panting form after she sustained an injury while helping him. Was the system laying all the emotional labor associated with the female lead's role on the scum villain Shen Qingqiu?